There are two things I think you all on Patreon might be interested in, okay? One is our Suba that we ended up making because we tried everything else. I think why everything else appears to work is nobody's doing Otoshi correctly. When you're doing Otoshi correctly, that means you are pinning Uke's center for a follow-up attack. It is a difficult ukemi to take. And if you get it wrong, and you will as you're learning it, it'll break your hands, okay? Most people require their hands to be broken a little bit because they will always try to muscle against the ukemi, take it in the shoulders, and you can just watch all throughout Chiba's lineage, everyone's taking it in the shoulders and not actually doing ukemi. When I was in Chiba's dojo, we used to wear, or I didn't like the idea, but everyone was wearing hockey mitts because Chiba Sensei would bust the hell out of your hands. And I moved away from it because it still hurt. He was still powerful enough, it still hurt. And I was so slow and cumbersome in the Jo transitions, for example, because you're wearing these hockey mitts that hockey players just hold the stick one or two ways. It's not all the different hand transitions that you have in the Jo. So I had to, in my mind, hey, I should be able to reconcile the yang energy. And you'll see me to this date, I'll even have my deshi go hard, and I don't wear a Suba at all. You're still not gonna break my hands, okay? But to get there, it sure helps if you have some cushion for when you mess it up. And that's why we were interested in Suba, not hockey mitts. They're too slow in transitioning. And we've tried everything, and you can move close camera, okay? And they're usually very expensive. So here is, I don't remember where we got this. Might be Kingfisher. I'm not knocking Kingfisher. I love Kingfisher. They're Boken, they're Suburi. I can't recommend them enough. They're just absolutely beautiful and super well balanced. But this is one of theirs, and they just rolled thick leather. And what happens is it gets continually hit and leather stretches. So it would stretch and it would just keep sliding down the tsuka, and eventually it's doing nothing for you. We tried the cheap plastic ones that come with your cheap boken when you buy them, but we just break them. They just got hit so hard that the brittleness of it would shatter. We had another company that tried to make it. Again, I'm not sure who makes this anymore, but it was the same. It's leather. And we tried to design one too out of leather. We had a rancher that I used to train with, and he had access to bull hide. And we were like, we're going to make one that works. But the problem with leather is under the impact, it keeps getting stretched by the tsuka because the tsuka is wider, so it eventually fails. We tried the urethane wands, and they're even more brittle than the plastic wands. They just snap immediately, okay? So what we've come up with is these rubber ones, okay? There's some downside to them because they kind of bounce. The wood does bounce off of them. But when you are trying to learn the ukemi, you're going to be trying to absorb it anyways. And so that bounce is not as pronounced as you think. You also cannot rely on the bouncing of the Naga's boken or Jo because it's going to go over the top and hit your forearms. Nonetheless, it hurts. You're going to start yielding to it, and you don't have a bouncing problem like you might think. But this is our highest protection, and it looks like this on a boken. Okay, and you see most of our people are sticking with that, and I don't have a problem with that. And the next is a little smaller. I just need a little safety cushion in case sensei you are pissed. Okay, and so it's a little smaller and gets you to like a little training wheel, and it looks like this on the book. And to be honest, it's not going to save you at all, but maybe you won't break anything if we're going full speed. That's kind of what it does. But it's going to hurt like MF if you can't take the ukemi, okay? And all you do is you just shove it down any size bokken that you want. It rubber flexes so it'll work, okay? And then there's enough friction on there. It does, however, mark some bokken because the rubber's running on it. You push it back. So sometimes some people will use the tsubadome to help with that, okay? And you can buy those anywhere, any martial art, Amazon has them. Even cheap Century Martial Arts sells a tsubadome. Okay? So you might be interested in these training tsubas if you really want to learn safely how to do makiotosh, kiriotosh, etc., and how to learn the ukemi for them. Okay, tsuba. The next thing I mentioned again is because no one else was making them, we started to make them. James here, he's a mechanical engineer and he knows how to do all this stuff. He's like, I can do that easy. And he does. It's probably not easy. He's just a humble guy, okay? And we base them on the knives that, are quite commonly understood as fighting knives, or even that I carry. So here you have a karambit design. The karambit knife is good to know because it's halfway between a cutting and a grappling tool. So you can grapple much better with this thing. And sometimes my everyday carry is a karambit. Patrol, it's always a karambit. It's one of my blades that I carry on my support side is a karambit. So we do a lot of karambit, and a lot of people here like the karambit, and so they just rock that one in our knife training. The other one is this classic dagger from World War II. Famous Brits invented this design, and it allows us to go ahead and do double edge knife training because the wooden tanto, does someone have that wooden tanto? Can you grab it? Is only a blade on one side, and sometimes we want to take advantage of a double-sided blade, okay? And so we go ahead and use this stabbing tool. Also, there's more geared towards stabbing. One thing you'll notice is these tanto that everyone buy, they just don't feel like knives. They just feel like a big pole in my hand. They act like a big pole in my hand. Whereas this will feel like a knife to you. A lot of times if you're rocking the silver one, it'll feel like a knife to uke too, okay? And they don't want you touching them with that. And it's safe to a point, no pun intended. But there's no cutting edge on it. You can see that it's thick enough. And there's no cutting edge here either. But I will admit that I missed a disarm on Tristan, who came in like a madman on me. And you could see the remnants of that. So this is much better, but it punched her just a little bit. Still, that's just because of how hard he hit me with it. It's not going to kill you though, okay? And this follows the same width and everything, and the same no edge, okay? But it's real enough that everyone's going to pay attention and train very mindfully, okay? It's made of aluminum, right? I think so. Yeah, aluminum. Okay. And then he does some designs. I don't know if he's going to open it up, but he put our crest on there that we have. And these are the diamonds that represent Shuhadi. and the reconciliation of the two minds. Okay. I don't know if he's gonna open the patterns like a different paracord. I don't know. But if you're interested and you're like, oh, I want this color. So this is OD green and this one's black, okay? Maybe he has the ability to do that. I don't really handle the store of the dojo. I don't get anything from what James makes. I don't even know what James sells them for or how much money. I could look into it and James is all driving a Ferrari down the street. I don't know, okay? So I'm sorry, I don't know. But what I will try to do is get people on Patreon some discount that we can give you so you can start maybe more okay with spending some money on this kind of stuff and moving away from this kind of stuff, okay? All right, thank you.